Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me for my Halloween card 4. I'm taking my Memento Tuxedo Black ink and stamping out this image. She's Vampy Victoria, and she's from CC Designs. And I'm just coloring her with my Copic markers. I'm using my E000, E00, and E2 for her skin, just to kind of give her a little bit of a paler complexion. I thought, her being a vampire, that she could use a little bit of color, but I didn't want her skin to be too dark. So I'm working in the smaller sections at the moment, just 'cause I'm not awesome at this. So I'm just coloring her up. I don't really have a particular light source. I just kind of shadow in where I feel I want the shadows. So you'll never really see the same light and dark places. Most people do, the images straight on and stuff, but I don't do that because it never works out when I try. So I just color. Here for her hair, I'm using E21, E23, and E25. I was trying to go for a reddish brown, but I only had one color that would work, and I thought it would be too dark. But because she's got very little hair here, her hair just ended up just being all brown. So I end up coming in here in a little bit with my E19 to give her highlights, so to speak. Just a little, which is a more redder brown. So it's just enough to give just a little bit of hair, like the look of actual hair. And then I blend it out so that, it doesn't look super streaky. And then I'm going to be looking for, oh, excuse me, no, not yet. I'm coloring in her mouth with my R20 and my R11. Her tongue is R20, and then the inside of her mouth is R11. Now I'm looking for one of my blues for her eyes. Just something about her, I just decided that she'd have blue eyes, and instead of doing pupils, I just left them as is. And I'm not sure why, because I planned to do it, but at the end, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I liked her with just the blue eyes. Now I'm taking my N2, N4, and N6 to color in the color of her cape hair. I was going for the black, but I didn't want just straight black. But at the end of all this, I will end up using my Wink of Stella black glitter pen, and I was not aware, I am now, I wasn't aware that it would have a black ink to it. I thought it would just be black glitter. So eventually all this coloring was kind of pointless, but I think it just gives it just a little bit more depth, and I love the sheen that it gives, which you'll be able to see at the end photos. Now for her inside of her cape, I'm taking R29, R35, and R39 to color it in. I eventually give up with the R35, which ended up being the lighter of these three colors, because I ended up blending the other two colors right over it, so I didn't even need this one. But I think it turned out really well. And like I said, she is a fun stamp. I recommend going to CC Designs if you like the stamp, and getting it. I wasn't real sure of it, but it was $1.75 because it was on sale. So actually, it was in their clearance section, their retired stamp section. So I figured for less than $2, I'd go ahead and get it, and I'm really glad that I did. She's really, really cool. So I'm just doing the other side. I kind of like the fact that the color ended up going much darker. I was trying to keep with a more brighter red, but I ended up liking the darker red so much more. I think it fit in so much better with her. And now I'm just getting my colorless blender out, just a little bit of red on there, and I put some on her cape here to kind of lighten up the folds, but didn't really work, so no no real loss. And then I'm looking for my B00 to help brighten up her shirt just a little bit. I wanted it to stay white, but I wanted it to look like a much brighter white, especially against the red. So I take that, and then I just take my colorless blender over it to blend that out a bit. And I take my C1 to color under her arms to give shading and also help define her shirt more. And now I'm back to my N4, N6, and N8 to color her skirt. And then I also use the N6 to color the buttons on her shirt. I also use the N4, N6, and N8 for her boots as well. And I do go over those with my Wink of Stella pen as well, just to give her just a little bit of shine. I take my red to do her bow tie, or my two reds, and then I put just little dots where her fangs are. You can't really see them, but I felt that it needed it. Because they're so tiny, there was just this tiny little white, so I just went ahead and colored them a little bit red. So now I'm just coloring up her boots, and then I'll be cutting it out. And she wasn't a very hard one to cut, so I mean, even though it looks like it'd be tricky, it really wasn't all that hard. Just time consuming, just because, you know, so big, just like any other stamps would be to cut out. But I quite enjoy it. Then the paper that I end up using here in a little bit is from Die Cuts with a View, the Spooktacular Matte Stack, which is the bat pattern paper that you'll be seeing, and then Doodlebug's Halloween Parade 6x6 matte pack. I wanted the polka dot paper, but I thought it was just really bright for this card, so I used the bat pattern paper to kind of help dye it down. So you still get the bright colors of the polka dot, but it's not overwhelming the whole page. I did use my, I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and slow down here for a second. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I do plan, hopefully, to do one more card before this series is ending. Otherwise, this will be my last one. But I have a trip to get ready for here in a couple of weeks, so I have to do that, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to actually get one in. Now I'm going to be using my Wink of Stella pen. I'm just getting, this is the first time I'd ever used it, and I actually squeezed a little too hard, so I had to get a lot of that excess off. And then I tap it in the hopes that it'll tap some of the ink back down for some of the, well, the whatever is in here, the glitter and stuff. And I do like these pens. They come in real they come in real handy, but I started worrying because I wasn't doing it in any kind of even strokes or anything, that it would be all streaky, and it blended itself out beautifully. So once the liquid was absorbed in, you know, good to go. I tried to show you here the shimmer, but it didn't quite work out, but you will see it here at the end of the video. And now I'm just going around a few of the edges to get rid of some of the white that I couldn't quite cut off. This card is a 5x5 card. It's a bottom opening. I think, yeah, that sounds about right. So this is the Doodlebug paper and the Die Cuts with a View paper. The orange is from the Doodlebug Parade one as well. I'm using a stamp from Michaels. It's the Craft Smart. I don't know the name of it. I just call it Moon with Bats because it's got a moon with bats in front of it. And I didn't want the moon, I just wanted the bats. So I'm trying to find the easiest way to do that, to remove that, and using a Q-tip, stamping it this way and then using a Q-tip worked out beautifully. And I'm just stamping that with my Memento, or my Dewdrop Tangelo, so a little tone on tone, and then inking the edges. Now I'm just going to use the wider ATG gun and glue everything down. I really enjoyed this pattern paper, the bat. I wanted to use it as a whole, but I cut it down too small, so I ended up using some of the inside. But I used the remnants on here, and then I'm just hanging this off of the edge. I will be cutting this down. I just wanted to get it on there with to put placement on there. And then the stamp set that I'm using is it's also from CC Designs by Amy R. And it's Witchful Thinking. And this one says, "Too cute to spook." And because she was such a cute stamp, I thought that just, worked out really well. I used my standard circles die, the second to largest one, to do the circle up at the top. And now I'm just taking my Halloween stars from the Doodlebug and adding them on there, and I had a little oops right there next to the stamp, so I took my small star to cover it up, and I think it worked out really cool. Now I'm just popping her up on some foam dots. These foam dots I got for free, but they suck. Because they stick to everything, but once I stick them to the paper, I have a hard time getting them to stay stuck sometimes, and then I have a hard time getting the covers off. So I'm trying to use these all up as best I can. I mean, once they're stuck on paper, that's great, but like doing this, if I don't get them really pressed down, pulling these off, I end up pulling them up all the time, and I don't have that problem with all my other ones. So trying to use these ones up as much as I can. And then I took my EK Success bat punch and had punched out a whole bunch of bats out of some extra scrap paper, and I'm gluing them down, and the Doodlebug paper, the orange, was black on the other side. So I just put some orange ones and some black ones on there, and you'll be able to see those better in the end. And I had a Studio G, it's a tiny, tiny bat, which are what the bottom bats were there that I was just fighting with. I just wanted a little bit more on the front of the card. And now for the inside. So this is the rest of that paper that I ended up cutting down way too small, but it works out for the inside. I put it on crooked and then couldn't get it off, so I gave up. I'm taking my Brilliance Memento ink, it's called Starlight Silver, and stamping out Happy Halloween, also from the Witchful Thinking stamp set. The ink was actually extremely juicy, so I had to stamp it off once and then stamp again. So this is the second generation stamp, but I thought it gave it a really cool look. And then I already had this white circle, and I just didn't want to dig out my Spellbinders dies anymore, so I went ahead and used that as some place for somebody to write. So that is the inside of my card. I'm just putting on a couple of orange stars, or one orange star to cover up the mess, and cutting off the side, and that's the card. So here's the view of the card. Some close-ups of her and the bats and stuff, so you can just kind of see the really, like I said, it's a really pretty shimmer on that Wink of Stella pen. And I think it just worked out really well. And then right here is the view of the stamp bats, and then the bats that I stuck on, and then another view here following, so you could really see everything together. So hope you enjoyed watching me make this card, and I'm looking forward to hopefully my next one, my vacation, and starting my Christmas series. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting. Bye now.